Hey everybody, Andy Timmons here. Welcome back to Melodic MUSE for Guitar World Magazine. And we're going to go in the Wayback Machine, and for the next few columns we're going to be looking at a song called Ghost of You, 2006 Andy Timmons Band Resolution record. Very kind of a pivotal record for me. It's when I really started digging into tone questing. It was the first record where I didn't employ any overdubs. It was one guitar track, bass and drums throughout the whole record. So kind of a transitional point, a turning point for me. So very fond of that record, and I love this tune. I've had a lot of requests to do it. So let's dig in. So as we get into the intro and then the theme of Ghost of You, it's a pretty simple harmonic progression. It's in the key of E, and then you'll hear the bass go down to C, and then the A. So it's kind of solidly in E minor. It's all kind of implied C major, implied A minor. And I'm doing some atmospheric stuff at the very beginning. I actually fade in with a little harmonic at the 12th fret on the upper treble strings. Then I'll do a little, I think I hit a note. A little harmonic on the B string at the 5th fret. And it's an effective note because it is the note B up that octave. And then when I go behind the nut and press on the string, it sends it up to that C natural, which sounds really nice with that A minor. Or even over the E minor, because it gives a little bit of that flat 6. And then I do a nice little A5. There's a little cluster on that, on a little dyad, the note A and E on the B string. And I start the theme. And so, if you were to look at these notes just on the paper, they may not seem so interesting because it's all very kind of basic minor pentatonic stuff. But what really makes melodies interesting is how you choose how you play them, basically. And if you know my playing, you know that I do choose to do a lot of things horizontally. So the first phrase is, so already I'm utilizing the neck in a different way besides, you might think to play it in a position, but if you hear, there's already a huge amount of more interest just because I'm sliding. So that's that first phrase. Not everything's picked. There's a combination of sliding, hammer-ons, and picking. And a little triplet feel that if you listen to the drums, it's not like the Picaro Purdy shuffle kind of thing, but it's very much a shuffly feel, and the whole song vacillates between kind of feeling like it's swinging and feeling like it's straight. When we get into the next section in the heavy chorus, it drives like a straight eighth, but the verses have a good amount of swing. And that next line that I play, you hear that triplet and dynamic. So it's another thing. As far as the tone goes, it's a fairly crunchy tone, but I'm going to my neck pickup and I'm getting the volume pretty far down. And today for the signal chain, I'm running through this nice Sir SL68 Mark II, running clean, but I've got my Keeley Super AT mod It's kind of replicating that kind of crunchy Marshall tone back on the neck pickup. What I'm pointing out is that by not having too much distortion, it allows you a lot of room for dynamic. You've got such range as opposed to a heavily distorted guitar tone, which tends to kind of compress your tone and maybe narrow your dynamic range. There's still plenty of dynamic to be had out of a full gain tone. But this neck pickup, volume down, slightly distorted, is a thing I like to do a lot because of that dynamic. And you'll hear, you know, the triplet, and then I'm accenting. That one's kind of subdued. But then I accent the harmonic of that 9th fret G string E. And I'm finding that place in the string. Every guitar, you can kind of map it out. To me, I know if I'm in front of my middle pickup. Okay, so that first line. Then it goes down to C. I start the melody now on the note E because it's the third of that C. So how's it go? Well, actually, I'm sliding into the G. So I'm really kind of sliding in between, you know. All these different positions, which I'd certainly mapped out at different points in my playing, you know, education. But it really instructed me was how to kind of visualize the entire guitar neck, and, you know, kind of seeing all those notes at the same time, so I could easily. So really great practice to kind of learn things horizontally as well as vertically, right? So that second one. Then this repeats. It's the same phrase that I played in the very first iteration of the theme, but I vary it. I do that little slide there. It's really nice to have that slight variation if you're going to repeat a particular phrase, just to give it its own little specialness instead of just repeating, you know, cut and paste, you know, kind of exact thing. Okay, so the second iteration, slightly varied. Give that little extra slide there. And then my little triplet, that's a little delayed rhythmically. And then this portion is basically the same. Now I go up the octave to the 12th fret. So relying on that flat 7. So you hear a lot of the swing start to come in. So let's look at that bend. It's nice to kind of to slide back out to going from that A back down to G, and then bending up to it. Theme from SWAT, if anybody's paying attention. Now there, I've got a melody happening on the B string where I play the G note and bend up to the B. If you watch my right hand, I'm up picking. I'm underneath the string instead of. I just get a little sweeter tone out of the string, and I'm getting a little bit more harmonic sometimes. Sometimes get a nice harmonic on that little note B on the fourth fret of the G string. And do a little half step. Then one more statement of the original theme. And now a little sixth. And to give us the energy to get into that heavy chorus. So that's playing that little dyad of a sixth. You get the note B and G on the A and the G string. Then when we're getting into that A minor, I'm utilizing the open E string. Let's get a little extra filling out of the harmony, but also just a little bit of edginess. That last bend, commonly that kind of bend would either be a single string, or maybe with a fretted, E string, note E on the 12th fret. But I think here, letting that E string ring open. You could fret it if you want, or if you have a floating bridge, it might be more problematic tuning wise. In fact, my bridge is floating slightly, so you'll hear a little discrepancy, but a little rub is okay considering the energy where we're going. But kind of just before it gets to the peak, release it, and then we get into the heavy chorus.